Yeah, I was a little bit scared. I thought nobody's here. What the hell is going on? Am I in the wrong Discord? I checked all channels and everything, and now, now you're here at least.
At least you and me should preserve the honor of the lore keepers. GM, guys. Ahota, Jindo.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. You're all too late. You missed the alpha.
Yeah, I shared all the alpha already. Everyone missed it. GMPG. Ah, Pelehun, it's a shame you can't stay. Let's wait a little bit longer so more people join us. I'm getting my water. Because we have many things to talk about today. Mhm. We live, Mike. We're still alive, alive and kicking. Sorry, guys, I was getting some water. Awesome. You guys can hear me, right? Also awesome. Yeah, people are still joining. Let's give them like 1 or 2 minutes longer. You have questions, PG? Good. I have answers. Everyone will be happy. Yeah, today there are a few things that I want to cover. I want to talk a little bit about Holosim and overall lore and design for Holosim. I see many people here in this chat that have been playing Holosim with us, so I'm sure they will enjoy this conversation. And then I want to move towards a little bit of theory crafting and lore regarding C4 and how the lore will be uh how the lore will be intertwined with C4 at one point. But yep, lots to cover. And I want to give you guys some time to ask questions, answer questions. It's always good to have this live Q&A. I want to do a shout out to Nash here because right after the brew here, the Lore Keepers event, sorry, we'll have the poker night, the first Star Atlas poker night. So if you guys, I'm not sure if the inscriptions are still open, but if you want to come and watch, you'll be able to see that I have nearly non-existent poker skills, but it's fun. We'll have a good time. We'll play together. You guys can cheer for me. GM Neo. I think the buy-in PG is 20,000 Atlas, I guess. Hmm. something like this. But yep, I think we can get started now. GM, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys again in this special episode of the Lore Keepers. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about Holocene and a little bit about D4 overall design, and also open up for questions for the community. It's been busy week for us, right? Busy month at all for Star Atlas. As we released Holocene, we had a huge town hall full of alpha regarding the next products, the things that are in motion here. Uh, we also spoke about the new updates to Unreal Engine 5, and there is a cool surprise there for the people that like lore. You guys will see that the next racing track that we'll have in Star Atlas will be entirely lore based. It's going to be super fun. It's going to be about a racetrack that belongs to the Exinade house of the Sogmin species. So we will start seeing more and more influence of the lore in overall products that Star Atlas is releasing. And this is, of course, lots of work, but it's super fun and it makes me super happy to be working here as we can see the lore becoming more and more relevant to what we are doing here. I think we can get started speaking a little bit about Holocene overall. And I see Jindo here. I see. Let's see who else playing Holocene here. VB playing a little. Uh, Level X playing Holocene. Katir. Katir's grinding. Bob's grinding. Yeah, we have some Holocene people here. And this is actually a question that I have been meaning to ask you guys. Uh, how you guys feeling about Holocene overall? Like the structure of Holocene, the quest systems, the lore, the speed, the mechanics. How do you guys feel about it overall?
Oh my god.
I
Is
can
this suck
hear.
out?
Sorry. Yeah, I see people saying Jindo is addicted, VB is slow, Katir is coming for Bob. Yeah, guys. Holocene is actually for me. Is let's say the most engaging gameplay experience that we have in Star Atlas right now, because basically it lets us reunite everything that we have created so far, um, polish, and let players enjoy themselves while giving them the perfect scenario to compete against each other, right? Yeah, Katir is saying that he really liked the tutorial and quest path. This is actually something that is really a game changer, right? To have something that can direct you in game, that can teach you the gameplay mechanics. I think it is. I like being able to craft so many ships. Yes, Jindo, this is super cool as well. Uh, the Holocene allows us to play with a lot of really cool concepts without being worried about overall financial impacts. And it makes super easy for us to develop this new product, onboard new people to Star Atlas, and overall have more fun, right? It's faster, as Jindo is saying, it's faster than Sage. It is faster, it's easier, the game is more dynamic. You can ambush other players, which is always something really cool, right? I have seen that the three factions now have separate chats where the players are discussing strategies to corner each other, protect their star bases and fleets, and etc. Yeah, things are really getting to place, and to me, guys, this opens up the doors for so many cool stuff that I wanted to do, but I have been unable because uh, it takes a long while to get things done in other game scenarios because they have economic implications and etc. But in Holocene allows us to be faster, more agile, and overall play with stuff without fear of wrecking anyone or creating economic implications. So now
Mm.
I can actually start talking a little bit about the lore of Holocene and how it ties with everything else in Star Atlas. Right out of the front, I would say that Holocene is a very important character in Star Atlas lore. Yes, Holocene is not only a simulator of realities, Holocene is an actual lore character in Star Atlas with this mission or this purpose that he was created for to create scenarios where he emulates alternative realities in Star Atlas. And what I mean by that, Holocene, he is able to read data and information in nearly everywhere inside the Star Atlas galaxy, and he takes this information and he creates scenarios based on the directives that he receives from the Council of Peace Authority. But if you are playing Holocene, you realize that some weird stuff happened during the lore. Like, right out of the bat, when you start the campaign, you leave the tutorial, your character sees some, how can I say it, without giving away too much spoilers for people who didn't play Holocene. There is a strange experience with your character that gives him an impression that something is not correct. And thank you guys for passing the lore. And then your character in game is forced to follow an alternative path from the other people in this scenario in Holocene. Another interesting character that we introduce in the Holocene lore is Sage, right? Sage is this another conscient artificial intelligence in the world of Star Atlas that is designated to support the captains independently of their allegiance, of their factions, of their alliances. All captains in Star Atlas uh, receives or is awarded with a sage to be their co-pilot, their support, and etc. And through the interactions of this captain with Sage, Sage evolves, collects more data, and becomes stronger and more relevant. And in this scenario, we see the dynamic of those two characters together. And I don't want to give away too much spoilers, but Sage and Holocene, they have the same creator. There is a very special creator for them. It is one of the most advanced beings in the Stratos lore, if not the most advanced creature, we could say it like that, in the Stratos lore. And they received this mission to guard the captains and the people involved in Galia yes, the creator Neo, they received this mission of guarding captains across Galia Expanse. But at one point, they start diverging from their missions in different ways. Like they have different interpretations of what their mission actually is. And by the end of this first scenario, by the end of the first season of Holosim, you guys will see very clearly how this how Holosim specifically agenda has changed from his conception and what you guys and everyone playing Holosim is actually doing in the overall Star Atlas narrative. I don't think I can share too much more on the Holocene overall plot. Uh, I didn't, Cracker. That's a little earlier from my days. I was born in '99, so yeah. But it's interesting. It is interesting. Uh, but we have this meta game here, where Holocene brings the players together with Sage. I'll take a look later at this movie. Sounds interesting. And in this scenario, Holocene is actually trying to do something with you guys. And if you pay attention to the lore and the quest and the journey of your captain during the quests, maybe this will become more clear and help you guys prepare for the second scenario that we are creating. And this is where I am working right now. I have nearly finished the quests for the first scenario, and we are now thinking about how the next season of Holocene should look like. So, if you guys have any ideas of uh, scenarios that you would like to play, and I'll give you guys a few examples here later. I'll see what's doable with our team, but I really would like to have feedback from you guys. We are thinking about things like replaying. Uh, re- just to before I go in, I'll answer your question though. This is like the beta of season one, and this will close very soon. Like this beta phase will close in a few weeks. We'll yeah, we can say it's the preseason. And once this preseason is over, we'll have the actual season. And there in this actual season is when you guys are really competing against each other. We are bug free. We have all mechanics in game working. We have economic incentives. We have uh, a few. Mike, guys, sorry, we need to end this lore keepers because you know I need to take my grandmother to jujitsu. We are late. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Yeah. Now that we are under supervision, we need to change the agenda, guys. Sorry. Yeah. But yeah, it's coming. The this first season, this is something that we all did a lot of work to make you guys feel to have fun. And we have some surprises that we have not released for the preseason. You guys will I mean, if you guys have played Holocene and you already like it, you guys will be more than happy, I guess, with Holocene and how it will play out in the overall world of Star Atlas. And with that said, I think we can move forward in discussing a little bit about C4 as we had programmed. And I wanted to do a little uh, theory crafting exercise with you guys here. We learned a lot of what C4 is about. In the previous town hall, we learned about the new mechanics that will be open for us. We'll have star-based conquest. We'll have a totally new economy with thousands and thousands of resources, recipes, components. Uh, I was joking with the guys earlier today that if I were to leak every day one resource or even two, we wouldn't make it. Like, we would release C4 before I was able to leak everything. It's enormous, it's super cool, it's super interesting, and it opens up the doors for many cool stuff that we can create in game. And for the first time, we have something that you guys have awaited for a long while, and one of the main reasons that Holosim is so fun, that is combat, right? We'll have combat, combat with lots of variables, your builds, your characters influence in the game. So now with C4, we reach the level where we have an economic layer. Hey Lordo, you have a hot mic, friend. We have an economic layer in game. We have a military loop in game. We have this new layer that brings another level of depth to Star Atlas. And what I wanted to talk with you guys today, for us to start theory crafting, to start thinking about the real future of Star Atlas, is how a lore layer could work in the future of Star Atlas. So this will be our theory crafting exercise today. Keep in mind that this is just theory crafting. This is to collect you guys' thoughts on how the lore could work in Star Atlas. I didn't talk to anyone in game design, econ. We are just talking lore here. But I have a lot of fun doing those. And I have a couple ideas of how we could make the game more exciting, more immersive by adding a lore component, a lore layer to C4 as in a similar way that we are trying to do here in Holosim now. So I'll share a few pictures with you guys that I did today. This is not Star Atlas assets. This is just Jose AI art to discuss a little bit the concepts that I have been thinking about with you guys. Just a second. I'll share, just as I copy paste here, some pictures of the sectors here in Star Atlas. You guys can see it in the Atlas Brew Lounge chat. I have a few of those I created today. Sorry if they look bad, but I think they pass the idea. So right now, you guys are already familiar with how the sectors look in Star Atlas, right? We have right now 51 sectors in game, and with C4, this number goes up enormously. Like, every one of those 51 sectors becomes an actual region, and within those regions, we have planets with different resources, we have star bases, we have core systems, and we have a king system. And I was like, the day that I learned about this design, it sparked in my mind, like, how could we attach the lore to this structure to make it, to add more immersion and depth to the game? as you guys know, we have this roadmap here in Star Atlas, and the political layer, which we could also tie with the lore layer, is one of the last things that we are adding to the game, simply because it's one of the hardest things to pull out. It brings like a whole new logic of governance to Star Atlas and to the overall game that brings, I don't know, if we already are a game that has many possibilities, the moment that we add the lore, the moment that we add politics, our game becomes like another level. It's no one has, I don't think anyone has done this before. And I was thinking like, how can I use the lore to bring more elements to this system? Like, and then, as you guys know, I have been writing and creating throughout this time the different minor factions of Star Atlas. You guys are, you guys know about the Jorviks, we have the pirates, you guys know about the ecos terrorists, but those guys, they are just a fraction of the overall lore that we have created throughout the years in Star Atlas. And each one of those factions, they have different objectives, they have different agendas, they have different values, and different technologies and perks. So what I did was, I was like thinking like, if I was writing the story of Star Atlas, how those factions would be represented in the galactic map. So I have done those sketches, those cards you guys see in the chat here. Like we have unfoil states, we have coral nebula. Oh, I forgot a few of them. Hold on. We have hanging gardens. Those are sectors right now in Sage. And they have a population, right? They have, but those sectors, they are not unified politically speaking. It's different from the safe zone that's composed like the factions nearly totally control every aspect of the safe zone. The medium risk zone, as I spoke about in our previous lore keepers, it is fragmented due to the events of the Convergence War, due to the colonization, how the different sectors were colonized, the species, the factions that were born in those sectors. So there is division among them. And I started playing with this division, and I came up with like those cards that shows you how I see the representations of those different minor factions in game in each one of our regions of Star Atlas. And when we create something like C4, the regions now become much bigger. We have planets, we have core star systems, etc. And this opens up the door to maybe add a layer of lore above this political, military, and economic map and create some interesting stuff. Like, for example, it's no secret for you guys. This is something that we have been thinking about for a long time, about a
No.
reputation system in Star Atlas, where players can grind and acquire reputation through quests, through missions in game. And I was wondering,
Okay.
what if we adding this lore layer, we enable players to represent beside their main faction one of those smaller factions, you know? So for example, let's see here like hanging gardens. Like hanging gardens is the right now it's the base of the Ecos faction inside the medium risk zone in Star Atlas. what if you start representing the equals, doing missions for the equals, and you start expanding the equals faction territory politically in game. And when you do that, you start unlocking equals specific events or technologies in game. So for example, let's say a system, a region of the galaxy that's under equals. Let's say the players get together, they conquer a star system, and they start pushing the control of the equals to that star system. And this starts unlocking missions and perks to the economy of that region, uh, based on the equals faction values and technologies. So I'll give you guys an example. Like this would allow
Hey,
you
excuse me.
to. Hey Lordo, you wanna say something? I think
Sorry.
Lordo has a no worries, friend. So for example, when you join forces with the equals, this would allow you to, for example, craft unique components used by the equals faction ships. But this would come with a downside that you would, for example, have a restriction on the amount of claim stakes that can be uh, staked on planets, because this goes predatory, predatory farming and etc. goes against the ecos tenets, you know, the ecos philosophy, and we could have this kind of system where this becomes a new layer of political gameplay, because players would now be fostering those minor factions and unlocking content based with their reputation and the relative power that their minor factions have in Star Atlas, right? Funcracker is asking, but you still conquer on behalf of your faction, and nobody in Cobb likes equals very much, right? Would this not lead to some hairy lore conflict? Yeah, maybe the equals was a bad example here from Cracker, because they are a rogue faction, and we don't want them to be like uh, conflicts between the major factions in game. But what I'm talking about here is not the dominant faction, like the territory becomes equals, but that the equals in this sector are able to participate more politically speaking, unlocking their benefits, their technology, their components, their trading, and etc. It's a form of cultural influence more than a political conquest. Political conquest will be restricted to the main factions, but this cultural influence would be restricted and allow players to do stuff related to this faction. So, for example, let's say a system get let's get a very extreme example. For example, the Graph Research Organization. Graph is for those of you guys that don't know about Graph. Graph is one of the most radical libertarian undercoats research institutions in Star Atlas. They literally do body modifications without any moral constraints. If the client pays them to mutate their bodies, they'll do whatever their client requires. They look forward to expand their research without any restraints and any moral concerns. So they are a rogue faction. They are considered criminals in the overall lore of Star Atlas. But let's say you are grinding reputation with them. What if in the future, if you have enough reputation and you manage to get their hold in a system to a certain threshold, how cool it would be if this allowed you to modify your crew members for a fee to gain certain traits or to add certain body parts to them. This is the kind of thing that I am thinking about for those minor factions, how they could impact the game, how this could even move the overall lore of Star Atlas. I'm adding penguin wings to all my crew members. This is a good one. Yeah, this is a good one. Yeah, so this is the general idea that I have been thinking about here, guys. And I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on if you like this concept of having this political layer based on reputations with minor factions, how you guys feel about this? Or do you think this would bring more complexity to Star Atlas? I'm really looking forward to hear feedbacks on this exploratory branch. Yeah, I think you guys. Yeah, I think you guys liked it. I've uh, and one of the cool things that we could add as well, which is something that we are already exploring a lot, is about making each one of those factions or NPC factions an institution in game controlled by AI. Like we know AI still needs to develop a lot until we reach that point. But we have this partnership with those guys in Singularity, and this is something that we clearly spoke about with them for them to do research and to explore in the future. This idea of, let's say, creating, for example, the Jarvik character, and we give them the traits, the logic, and the overall behavior of how a Jarvik should be. We give them a wallet with initial assets that corresponds to their, let's say, power at the beginning of the game, and we let them roam free in Galia, challenging new guys or making alliances and joining forces or competing against each other in game. Do you think this is something, this active gameplay by the NPC factions, do you guys feel this is something positive? Or we should restrain this to that, to a system of more reputation and passive relationships? I see a few people typing. Yeah, Kachir, this is like, yeah. Yeah, I agree with Frank Cracker. Everyone will love it until they overtake everyone and kills us all. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's it's still early to talk about this, but this is something that, yeah, as Michael is saying, like if we have sophisticated AI agents that we can program them to have a personality, to have objectives, to have agendas, logics of engagement with players, man, imagine like you trading with an AI agent and helping him take over a star system, for example. Man, this would be rad. Like, I like it, this new. We already suffer with fleet rental bots. Imagine when we have combat bots. Yeah, man. Captain Kine is expressing a valid concern that the AI will, and this would be the case actually, because the AI would be programmed to make money in game. So she would be trying, it would be trying to get resources from you guys and try to make your lives harder or easier depending on your allegiance with them. So yeah, there's This opened up many doors of interesting gameplay loops and ways that we can bring more immersion to Star Atlas universe at all, you know? I see many people typing, so I'll wait for the. Yeah, you are right, Frank Cracker, but they would raid the players that are trying to get LP, right? Yeah. Yeah, guys. I mean, right now, I'm not sure. The people who have been playing Holocene have already seen that we are trying to add more and more lore to our gameplay loops. Like, for example, the map in Holocene, we have only the lore names for the star systems. Instead of MRZ 15, for example, we have unfoil states. And in the next scenario, in the upcoming scenarios, we want to add more and more lore elements to the game. Maybe we even try to get started uh, with a simple reputation system in game. Neil, I love this, Neil. In 5 years from now, Jarvix have just acquired more voting power than Automata and replaced them in development of Star Atlas. Imagine that. That would be wild. Yeah, this would be super fun. But yeah, guys, the logic here is to find ways to bring this lore layer uh, to Star Atlas to give us more mechanics, uh, more depth, and more overall entertainment to the game. Like another thing that I really like uh, that we are starting to do now in Holocene is, for example, side quests related to star systems, to your faction, and etc. For example, we can add side quests where the NPC wallets set up buy orders in the markets for the resources that they need in game to develop their agendas, you know? So the AI or the NPCs in game will be driving their evolution through commerce with players by setting up quests, you know? So this is this is also something that we are going to explore to create what if AI players build Sage in Sage? Now this is too much Inception for me, Katir. I'm starting to get confused. But yeah, and I mean AI has a lot of potential to help us in many of those fronts. Like uh, this is something that we are actually working on as well to be able to teach AI how to generate quests that make sense based on Star Atlas game lore and mechanics. So at one point in time, we want Sage to have, we want, for example, Holocene. We are trying to create a system where the AI will create quests based on market demands to steer the economy and make it move forward. For example, so for example, the AI sees that no one is doing food and the food stocks are going low. So the factions will create buy orders for food to keep the market moving and the economy driving forward. So yeah, we have lots of potential here. And as I was saying, like Holocene shows that we have a lot of demand and people are enjoying playing the game with quests and mechanics that drives the player forward with objectives. And in the future, I can totally see like all of you guys trying to grind the reputation of different factions just to unlock certain quests, certain locations, certain items in game that are gated by your relationship with the different aspects of the world of Star Atlas. So I'll give you another example. Like, for example, there is a rare plant in the high risk zone where if you manage to create a potion with that plant, one of your crew members becomes immortal. He doesn't die. I mean, he can explode, he can, whatever happens with him, but this crew member, he becomes immortal, and to acquire this plant will be extremely hard. You'll likely spend more than resources than it's worth just to have one crew member become immortal. But the thing is, maybe even if you find that plant, you need the knowledge of the Miaris lore keepers in order to do a quest and learn how to craft this potion. So this allows us to gate game items and mechanics behind the grind for reputation, for exploration in game. Maybe some events just happen if you have enough reputation with a group. For example, let's say you have a lot of reputation with Iris Academy, which is the leading research institution in Star Atlas. And the Jorvik pirates will start to go after you because they know that you are valuable. Your fleets, your knowledge, your in-game knowledge is valuable for their faction, and they try to enslave your crew member who has lots of reputation with the Iris Academy, for example. Just a silly example, but something to illustrate that we could also think about how reputation generates random events that could spark gameplay loops, could hide secrets about Star Atlas, and we can make every one of those relationships meaningful in game. You know, maybe faction diplomacy will possibly with smart AI groups. I think that's for sure. Uh, for sure. Yeah, this is. I think this is something for the future, Kachiro, obviously. But I don't see why not diplomacy becomes a thing even between NPC factions in game at some point. Mustache is asking, how would they know how much reputation our crew members have? Can that be scanned or more espionage? Mustache, the way that I feel this is that after you reach a certain degree of reputation, your character starts becoming well known in Galia Expanse, right? I mean, we have people collecting data even in today's, like in the current age. If you type your name in Google, you'll see a lot of information about you. And the more that you are known, the more information there is about you, right? So maybe this is something that they could acquire through a data runner, maybe doing some scans about your private life in game. Maybe it is a data runner gameplay loop to discover information about other players or characters. Uh, Reputation would be on a profile level, I think, Funcracker. That's a very good point. But this is not a Jose problem. That's game design problem. I'll let them worry about this in the day if they want to implement this stuff. I mean, I already have a hard time trying to figure out the lore explanations for all the game design stuff. We should let them also have a hard time trying to figure out how to manifest the lore stuff, right? Makes sense. But yeah, this opens up many cool doors for us to create this reputation system, to add this layer of lore above the game. And I feel this would even make more like every career, every relationship more meaningful. Because for sure, if you devote yourself to become an agent of the Jorviks, you surely are not going to be allowed to be anywhere close righteous uh, groups inside the Stratos lore, right? So this will make players really wear the t-shirt undercoats of their teams in game. This would even foster role playing as well, which is something that I really like. Uh, Maybe the NPCs will react differently to you based on your reputation with them and their factions. So yeah, I mean, the possibilities are endless here. And since I saw that you guys really like it, this concept of reputations, I'll keep creating those cards for now just for internal purposes. But at some point, when we get closer to these political gameplay loops, I'll start sharing with Danny and team some ideas on how we could start immersing the lore of Star Atlas, uh, to add the lore layer of Star Atlas to the game mechanics. Maybe slow at the beginning, but at some point when we have virtual realities and we are all living inside Galia Expanse, we'll feel like actual characters inside Galia with our crew, with our factions, with our banners, with our decks. Yeah, the future will look super cool, guys. I can't wait until we reach to that when we reach that point. Super excited. uh, I think we are close to the end now. I want to end a little bit earlier today because we have poker night, and I know many people are looking forward to join that event as well. Does anyone have any questions, suggestions, or critics about what we spoke about today? Any ideas that I should work on as well? DM me all the alpha. You need to ask Michael. That's Michael's department. DM him. They're asking for alpha, Michael. I told them that's your department. No way, new. All right, guys. So thank you all for coming to this episode of the Lore Keepers. I was super happy to see that you guys enjoy daydreaming with me about the future of Star Atlas and how the lore layer of C4 and Holosim will play out. Uh, this will be an ongoing conversation for a long time because we have a lot to do on that front. It's always a pleasure to talk with you guys about the lore. And thank you for playing Holosim and being with us every time. I love you all and looking forward our next episode of the Lore Keepers. Have a good day and I'll see you soon. Bye.